When someone donates organs after death, it's important to preserve those organs so the gift can help the recipient as much as possible. One way to do this is through a technique called NRP, which stands for normothermic regional perfusion. If we break that down, normothermic means normal body temperature, regional means only in a specific part of the body, and perfusion means pumping blood through tissues. One of the more controversial types is TA-NRP, which is NRP done in the thoraco-abdominal region, meaning the chest and upper abdomen, including organs like the heart and lungs. TA-NRP is controversial because blood must not reach the brain after death, and in this procedure it might. This can happen for two reasons. A, the clamp meant to block blood flow towards the brain might not be perfectly sealed, and B, blood can travel through small collateral vessels because in TA-NRP, the descending thoracic aorta is not clamped, leaving a pathway for blood to move upward. So the core problem is simple. TA-NRP might allow blood to reach the brain, even in very small amounts. This matters because death in circulatory criteria, the person is declared dead after their heart stops and no blood reaches the brain. If NRP accidentally sends even a tiny amount of blood back towards the brain, we don't know whether that could mean any residual brain activity, and that uncertainty challenges the definition of death. This issue has major legal and ethical implications. Legally, the biggest concern is the dead donor rule. This rule states that organs can only be recovered after a person has died, otherwise it would be murder. With TA-NRP, the fear is if we start pumping blood back through the body, could that somehow restore brain blood flow and undermine the determination of death? If even the possibility exists, the dead donor rule is threatened. A second legal concern is the question of time of death. If circulation is restarted in parts of the body, some people argue that this may blur the lines when death actually occurred. On the ethical side, there are several concerns. Firstly, donor dignity. We must ensure that the process respects the donor as a person, not just as a source of organs. Any procedure that appears to restart the body can feel disrespectful. Secondly, donor family respect. Families are grieving, and introducing a complex, controversial intervention can intensify their distress if it isn't communicated clearly or if they feel unsure about what is happening. These concerns affect multiple stakeholders. Firstly, donor families want reassurance that their loved one is truly dead and that their wishes are respected. Secondly, clinicians want to make sure that they are only retrieving organs after death has occurred. Thirdly, policymakers must ensure that regulations reflect not only scientific evidence but also public values, because my last group, being the public, need trust in the donation system, otherwise donation rates decrease. Now, if we look at the central problem, even if we solve the technical issue, if we can guarantee that no blood ever reaches the brain during TA-NRP, there would still be disagreements among the stakeholders. But why is that? It's because TA-NRP challenges people's beliefs about what it means to be dead, and different stakeholders interpret recirculating blood very differently. So the controversy is not purely scientific, it's also social, legal, and emotional. This leads us to our adaptive problem. How do we maintain legal and ethical integrity while respecting donor dignity, supporting families, and preserving public trust? There isn't one perfect solution, but there are actions we can take. First being public education. Clear, accessible explanations of DCD, NRP, and safeguards can help reduce confusion and fear. Campaigns, school programs, and informational materials can gradually normalize these discussions. Secondly, empathetic communication. Clinicians need structured training to communicate clearly and compassionately with families. This includes explaining what NRP is, addressing grief and fears, and creating space for questions so families feel respected and understood. I hope you've learned something new and that you've expanded your thinking today.